everybody, welcome back to Drifting Dreams Fabrication. Hope you guys are having a great day today. I'm super excited for today's episode. Hopefully you guys tune in to the shop update about what is going on. So, if you haven't, let me explain. I got a 5.3 L83 from a 2017 GMC Sierra, same here. This one has 60,000, this one has 40,000. This one blew through cylinder 1. Has a stage 3 cam in it, and that one's completely stock. What we're going to be doing is tearing down this motor and rebuilding that motor. I have all the gaskets from top to bottom, front to back, and then we're also going to be throwing this cam in that motor. And this motor, this 5.3 is for the E36. So if you guys want a little more information other than that, go tune in to the shop update video. And other than that, we're going to get right into it. Alright, here we are. We're getting all set up and we're starting to take off the timing cover. Then the vacuum pump was in the way of some of the bolts, so I had to take that off, took off the rest of the timing cover bolts, and then put them in an organized manner. And then we started to pull the timing cover. And as we got the timing cover pulled, there was either a oil pressure switch or sensor, so we pulled that. Then we start to pull the oil pump. I'm pretty sure that's what this is. Haven't done much research, and as soon as I pulled out all the bolts, I realized that the block was sitting on top of it. So we came into our next issue. I didn't raise the block up or put it on a piece of 2x4 until after some incidents. Right here, I ended up catching the block with my finger after the ratchet slipped off a bolt. And that sucked because it took off a bunch of skin. You can see I grabbed it right there. And yeah, so I went and got a Band-Aid and we're all good to go. I took the top of my thumb off. Accidents happen in the shop. That's awesome. So here we are. We're starting to take off the other motor mount because it's a little easier to access. And then yeah, so we start to pull this motor mount. And you'll see here. So here I got the motor mount off. I was able to turn the block sideways, get that 2x4 under, and then now I pull the oil pump and I set that off to the side with the bolts in it, and then I start to mess with the timing chain. Trying to figure out the best way to get it loose. So I grabbed this bolt, put it right here for a prying spot, and it wasn't really working. So I ended up just grabbing a 10 mil and pulling the timing tensioner bolts. And that worked out pretty well, honestly. So once I got that out, I was able to loosen up the timing chain. So at this point, there's a lot of bolts around, so I drew out the timing cover pattern and plugged all the timing cover bolts into a piece of cardboard. And here I am trying to break the cam gear nut loose, and it's just spinning the motor over, which is not fun because I can't pull this cam gear with the timing chain off until I get this nut off. So I grab a bar and I stick it into cylinder 1. I explained that cylinder 1 was blown through, and so it doesn't matter if it gets scratched or not, and this is just the parts motor. So we end up getting that loose here, and once we get that loose, we're able to pull the timing gear and the timing chain along with the crankshaft gear as well. So once we get that off, I set that off to the side. And then there's the cam gear, or the cam plate, oil plate, or whatever it is. And this is where I ran into some issues. The Torx bits that I was using, I guess, weren't forged or nothing, or these were just in super, super tight. So I tried with multiple Torx bits, and it was just twisting the Torx bits, and I stripped out a couple of these Torx bit bolts. So I ended up grabbing a drill and my bolt extractor set, and I just went to town. So after a lot of drilling, I was finally able to get that bolt extractor bit to finally grab, and I repeated the same process on another one that I had stripped out. And I'm a little discouraged here. It's quite annoying, and I ended up moving the camera to give you guys a better angle, and I end up just blocking the way for a few minutes, and So once I got the cam plate removed, I tried removing the cam. I put the bolt back in and try to pull it in and out, and it wasn't really going anywhere, just like a ½ inch forward and backward. And so I pulled the block up and set it on the engine hoist. And at this point, I removed the rear timing cover. So here you can see I wasn't able to get the cam out. It was getting hung up on something, so I decided to pull the valley cover off. And once I pulled the valley cover, I saw what I was getting hung up on. I don't know exactly what it's called. It's almost like a lifter / roller. But you can see here, I grab a piece of cardboard and mark out all my bolt holes. So I recommend doing something like this anytime you're taking a motor apart or a big slew of bolts. Just write down what you're taking apart, kind of mark out where your bolts go, poke a hole, and then stab your bolts through. So once I get all the holes stabbed in the cardboard, I'm able to start pulling the bolts out, putting them in one by one in order. And after I grab out all the bolts, I can finally start pulling the valley cover off. So I pull that top portion off, and then I'm able to grab the valley cover off. I have to pry it off real quick. And once I pry it off, I found what was hanging up on the cam. And it's this roller. Don't know what it is. I'll have to do some research on it. So I finally got it off, and once I got it off, I was able to start pulling on the cam again. So we pull out this roller that was hanging up on the cam, and we start to pull on the cam again, twisting it, trying to get it out as smoothly as possible. And this is coming pretty nicely, and then we finally get the cam out. She is out. As you see, TSB, which I think that's Texas Speed Performance, as in the star, from what it looks like. But yeah, that was the main goal of tearing this motor apart, of getting this out. So we got that out now, and that pretty much means that we can kind of put it back together a little bit until we come back tomorrow, or even Wednesday, which will probably be Wednesday when I start tearing the actual other motor apart. Once I tear that motor apart, we'll slide the old camshaft into that motor, and then we'll put the heads back on and kind of just assemble that back up. But this was the overall goal of today, of getting this, and this is what we really want. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys here in the next portion of the video. So here I start to ramble on about tearing the other motor apart, putting this one back together, yada yada. But so we're gonna make this a 2-part little series of tearing this motor apart and reassembling the other one. So if you guys enjoyed this portion of the video, stay posted. There's a lot more coming. This is just, pulling the cam out. And I'm also trying something new with the voiceovers while it's fast forwarding through hours of footage. Let me know what you guys think of that. If you like that, want me to keep it, etc. But if you guys have any comments, questions, tips, concerns, hit me in the comments or on any socials. I'll put my socials in the description. And like, follow, and subscribe, and keep posted, because we're going to start on the teardown.